My name is Ige Adejoke Olajumoke, and I'm a Lassa fever survivor. I contracted Lassa fever in the year 2018. Originally, I don't stay in Owo, Ondo State, but when I gave birth to my baby, I had reason to come to Federal Medical Center Owo because she was not well, she was sick. So I came and she was on admission for 7 days in neonatal ward. After we were discharged, I have family members in Owo. So I was asked to stay back so they can observe the baby. Since they are older, it was my first baby. So in the course of staying with them, although there are rats in the house, foods were well covered. After a week of my stay, I started feeling weak. I started feeling unwell, and I started having this malaise. It was as if I had malaria. So at first, I went to the pharmacy and got a malaria drug, and I took it. After which, I went back to my base in Akure. By then, I had already spent 2 weeks in Owo, and when I was leaving, I was sick. So I went home. When I got home, I was still sick. Then I had to come back to Owo again from Akure. This time around, I went to the general hospital to access treatment. When I was in general hospital, I was treated for malaria again and also for typhoid fever. I was placed on antibiotics, but one thing I know, the doctor who came to attend to me, when he came to my bedside, he kept saying that we are taking treatment, even taking antibiotics, but your temperature kept going up. We are having 39, 38 degrees Celsius. So at a point, there was this issue of strike after 3 days, and everybody on the ward were asked to go home. So I went home. This time around, I didn't go to my base in Akure. I stayed with my mother in Owo, because my mother also stays in Owo. So this time around, I went to her house. When I got home, I was with her and she was taking care of me. I think after 3 days of staying with her, this particular night at around 2 a.m., I told her that, Mom, if I don't get to hospital this night, I feel I'm going to die before day breaks because of the way I was feeling at that point. So she went out, called the neighbors, and I was taken to the hospital that night. In the middle of the night around 2 a.m. So when I got to the hospital, I was now on admission in Federal Medical Center, Owo. So after 4 days of admission, I was being treated. A doctor came to me and told me that I want to take your blood sample for a test. But then he told me that, but you're no longer running temperature. At that time when he said that, I knew he wanted to take my blood sample for Lassa fever, because I was well aware of Lassa fever. So he took the sample and left. One of the symptoms that still progressed even after all this medical health care for me is that I had this very severe chest pain that I find it hard to even eat. If you give me food, it's as if you are giving me the greatest punishment because I can't swallow. My chest is seriously painful. So after like 3 days, I was discharged from Federal Medical Center. As at then, Lassa fever result takes you 3 days for you to get your result because it was being run in Iroa as at then. So the day I was discharged, I think I was discharged around 3 p.m. At around past 5, an ambulance arrived at my home. A nurse came in and told me, can I remember that my blood sample was taken for a test? I said yes. So she told me that your result came out positive for Lassa fever. At this point, my mother broke down and she was crying. They asked me to take the things that we need because I'll have to be in the isolation center. So I took the things I'll be needing and I went with them in the ambulance to the isolation center. I was admitted there into the ward, but they gave my mother 2 thermometers to monitor their temperature for contact tracing since they both came in contact with me. After some few days, like 2 days, my mom called me and told me, your daughter is running temperature. The temperature I'll be recording is 38 degrees centigrade, 39 degrees centigrade. So I told her that I should bring the child to the isolation center. When they came, they were admitted in the suspect ward, while I was in the confirmed ward. So my child's blood sample was taken for Lassa fever. They ran the test, and when the test result came out, she was having Lassa fever. As at this time, she was just 6 weeks old. So she came in. She was not brought into the confirmed ward with me. So my mother had to follow her down because as at that time I was already weak. The thing about it is that when you start to take your drug, ribavirin, you feel weaker compared to before you start taking your drug. So I was weak. I could not do many things. My mother came in to help with the child. At this point, the health professionals gave her prophylaxis. So she was taking her prophylaxis, but at a point they told her that we still have to take your own blood sample because you had contact with the baby. Let's run the test. When they took her blood sample and the results came out, she was positive already. So the three of us were like 3 generations inside the world at the same time. Later, they came and took my breast milk to test for Lassa virus. And the results came out positive. So when it came out positive for Lassa virus, I was asked to stop breastfeeding the child. So the child was placed on NAN, and we were there. So being the first person that came into the ward and started receiving treatment first, I was the first person that came out negative. As at day 10 of admission, I was declared Lassa free. So I was asked to leave the ward. So it was remaining my mother and my child. Going home didn't feel like home. I couldn't stay at home. So the next morning, I returned back to the health facility. I tried to call, and my mom would bring out my child. Also, there's a barrier. You can't go to them, but you can see them and you can speak with them. So we talked, and when it was night, I just went to the trampoline that was there for the relatives. So I'll sleep there, then the next day I'll come out of there to talk to them again. So it was like that, and at some point my mother became turned out negative also. So she was asked to leave the ward, and I was asked to come back into the ward and take care of the child. When I came back into the ward this time around, I was no longer on medication. I was not given any medication. I just tend to the child and take care of the child. I also want you to know that during the course of the treatment for the child, as I've told you, the child was initially sick, and that was what brought me to a ward. At some point, they told me that all her veins has collapsed because she was just a baby and she has been having a lot of drip. So they couldn't get any vein for them to administer drugs to her. So for like 3 days, she was inside the ward with no drugs, no medication. We were just there. But after 3 days, the health professionals were able to constitute a syrup for her. So we started giving her the syrup. And after some times, they said the CT value that she has, she can no longer affect people, so we can go home. We went, I left for home with her, and I was taking care of her. We were giving doctor's appointments to come back. When we came for doctor's appointments, our blood sample also was still taken. And we went home. They communicated to me that she's not yet negative, that we still need to come back. We came back after a week again, and our blood sample was taken. After some days, they communicated to me that she's non-negative. And as the 3 of us, we survived the Lassa fever. We are fine, no complications. My baby turned 7 last month on 22nd. She's doing well, I'm doing well, my mother is doing well. But when we got home, we had to deal with stigmatization. This is real. because it was not easy just going out telling people, oh, I was being treated for Lassa fever in Federal Medical Center. It wasn't easy. So when we got home, when even people come around to say hello to us, they just greet us, but they don't know what we're being treated for. But after some time, when I interact with people, when we talk, I let them know that I'm a survivor, especially when I find myself in a situation where people are saying things that are not true. Especially saying that if you go for your treatment in Federal Medical Center, they just tag you Lassa positive and stuff like that, or they tell you that once you go to Federal Medical Center, you won't come out alive. They have that fear. So I make them know that I am a survivor. I got my treatment in Federal Medical Center and I survived. And I also go for that to let them know that even my child survived the same disease. And I've also had cases whereby I want to talk and people close to me will try to tell me not to talk so that people won't know. But all this while I contribute in my own way to let people know that they are survivors and I'm one of them.